Welcome in. Early Thursday morning. Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, Bill Gunner's on his way. Not a great morning weather-wise.
No, kind of yucky.
Yeah, if you're up, if you're just waking up, if the coffee's getting on and you haven't heard the rain on your roof, you haven't looked out the window and seen your rain, believe us, it is raining and windy.
Windy and
chilly.
standing water, like lots of puddles that over your car.
Yeah. So drive, be safe, be careful wherever you're going. Leaving plenty enough time. You will get there when you get there. It'll be fine. So we'll see how the weather plays out for the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend. I believe we're supposed to have nice weather for the rest of the weekend, correct?
Yeah, it really is. It's supposed to be nice, and it looks like kind of the heaviest of this is maybe going to go through maybe like 11 or 12 today, and then maybe a couple more showers. But then by the time everybody's driving home this afternoon, by the time school gets out, it looks like it should be clear.
Should be pretty clear.
Yeah, so we just got to get through the morning. That's just the yuckiest part of the day.
Cool.
And then, the weekend looks fantastic. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So Masters Weekend should be nice for everybody. It should be. So let's get it out the way now, because remember last year, it was
nasty last year.
So bad last year. So make sure we get that cleared out the way. Lot to talk about today. We got a whole bunch going on today. I want to get into a couple of ideas. You know, we sort of breached on it yesterday talking about Tiger and this Masters, but how realistic is it for him to compete? I'm really interested to see what people think about that.
Yeah, I just listening to Amy Lawrence a few minutes ago and somebody she had on, and they're basically saying they don't know who'll make the cut.
Yeah.
That's when did you ever envision a world where Tiger didn't make the cut at the Masters?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't process that.
Yeah, that's what's. So I'm really interested to see what people think about, or what's even the prospect of Tiger. What does Tiger mean? What does Tiger mean to people now? What does he mean to people my age, or whatever? It's just really interesting. We'll talk about that obviously as the Masters gets ready to get started. We have a little football talk to talk about. Quarterback competitions, if there is one, what is the status of one? We heard from Shane a little bit yesterday talking about the status of competition, and not to be a spoiler or spoiler alert, but everybody's good. Everything is fine. Everybody's good, and we're all doing well.
Kumbaya. Everything's good.
It's all good. Mm-hmm. So if you don't stick around for the rest of the show, at least you know that everything is good.
You can take a deep breath. It's all good.
Yeah, you know that everything is good. Coming up during the 7 o'clock hour, we obviously will have our Chop Block segment where we'll talk a little Braves baseball. Bad news for the Braves. We'll get into that a little bit and maybe discuss a little bit about pitchers, and I won't say rash, but an uptick in injuries for pitchers. Seems as if it's happening at the major league level and probably all other levels. We'll talk, maybe get into a little bit of that. And then at the end, we'll talk about another legendary coach retiring. Tara Vanderveer from Stanford retired yesterday, I believe. We didn't get a chance to discuss it, but I want to talk about it in the grand scope of the trends of some of our elder statesmen and women retiring and leaving the games, and what does that mean as far as how that is concerned. So got a lot to get on today. Also, Under Armour ending, maybe, possibly. Could South Carolina be so lucky as some of these other schools to see Auburn leave? Bill has entered the studio with a lunchbox. I see green paper, so I'm very, very curious. I don't know what's happening here, but he comes bearing gifts. Bill, what's going on here?
All right, as you guys were saying, it is nasty out there.
Yeah,
it is, and I think literally as I parked, it got worse. Now, I know all those things you want to talk about, but we have a very loyal listener, Brian, and we'll just identify him as Brian. That is his first name, Brian C., who was at the Masters yesterday.
Oh, man.
Oh, the first sandwich on top.
What is this? Nice. You don't see?
First sandwich on top. We have ham and rye. We have pimento cheese to try.
Okay.
We have all of the sandwiches to try this morning. This is the next one is egg salad. So we will get to all your topics.
Taste test.
We
nice.
will also be taste. So thank you to Brian.
Appreciate you, Brian.
So we have Masters sandwiches, the green baggie. Of course, that is funny. I have not looked in this thing, and so the very first one I pull out is the ham and cheese on rye.
The rye that is just nothing for Mr. Preston.
So I apologize. I was picking those up, and then as you guys were mentioning, I was doing safe driving on the interstate, not doing any more than the speed limit because, as y'all were saying, it is nasty out there. They have delayed the opening of the Masters this morning. They're going to delay, if they have not already, the tee times. When I went to bed last night, the only thing that was delayed was the opening of the gates for the patrons. So I assume that is going to be the delay also of the tournament as well. You guys mentioned it. It is nasty. It is expected to clear out. They, I believe, expect to play golf today and get in some rounds. We'll do want to get into that. You brought up an interesting thing that's become a real hot button issue, and that is the injuries, the pitcher injuries in Major League Baseball. And obviously we'll do our Chop Talk segment with the Atlanta Braves. And obviously last week, the big injury occurred on Friday to Spencer Strider. He's on the 15-day IL, I believe, or in IR. I can't remember which one it is. There's been several other ones that have popped up so far early in the season. So, it's been quite the start to the season as well, Preston Thorne.
Yeah, so that's why I'm really curious to see, especially during that talk, and I've seen that bubbling around, and I think there's a lot of hypotheses that are going around about why this is happening, and I think it's worth having a conversation about.
And then also a little bit of Masters discussion, as you have said, time waits for no one. How do we absorb Tiger Woods through the years? It's been really interesting, and he will start a quest today for a 6th green jacket. Do you believe that he can win?
No.
Based on what he said, that if it all comes together, do you believe he can win?
No.
We'll discuss that coming up here in just a few minutes. Obviously, again, we'll do that. Make some picks for NASCAR today. It's going to be a busy day. We'll keep you updated. Hopefully, you drive safely out there. Again, right as I was getting out the car, it seemed to actually intensify pretty good. The wind picked up. I don't know if it was just being downtown or what compared to where I was in Lexington, but we'll get into that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. South Carolina baseball tonight we'll have Carolina Calls, or excuse me, last night was Carolina Calls, I believe, as it's on our sheet here, and it's been scratched out and says tonight. But that would have been on Wednesday's sheet, Jen. So I guess Carolina Calls with Mark Kingston was last night. We'll get some audio from that. Also remind you about the parade coming up for Dawn Staley's team on Sunday, 2 o'clock. It will begin at the 1700 block of Main Street and will conclude at the intersection of Main and Gervais in front of the South Carolina State House. Team will then hold a pep rally on the State House steps where fans can hear from South Carolina Athletic Director Ray Tanner, South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley, and a selected team member. So a lot to get to this morning. 803-404-6100. We'll talk Tiger Woods, and what sandwich do you want to try first?
Let's get the worst out the way early.
The ham and rye, huh? Mm-hmm. Get it right out the way. Get it right out the way.
Yep.
We will
give me the bad news first.
We will get to that this morning as we get you up and get you going on a rainy, dreary, awful Thursday morning, but it's the Masters. The Masters officially getting started later on this morning. We'll get to that. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Definitely is a mess out there. If you have an opportunity to maybe leave a few minutes early, that might be a really good idea. Highway 1 near I-20, an accident there. Also, 262 there at Garner's Ferry Road. We have a report of an accident. We're going to have the rain and some thunder showers coming in mid-morning. And then really, for the most part, the heavier stuff will be clearing out sometime around noon. Maybe a couple then scattered showers after that. But really, it looks like the system should be out of here by 2 or 3. So that is good news. But in the meantime, we have to deal with it, right? So we're looking for a high today of 79 with those thunderstorms. And then very nice tomorrow, just windy and 72. But standing water out on the highways, do be careful. It is 66 on the early game.
Eight zero 404-6100, how you can weigh in on a very nasty Thursday morning. But it's Masters. It's the start of the Masters. So that means you got to be in a good mood and you got to drive safe. And we're going to get started with ham and cheese on rye, the little baggie. What do you think about the baggie? Remember, that baggie was designed so that if it fell on the ground,
it's very official looking. You know, when you go luxury shopping, sometimes it's not about the thing that you purchase. It's about the bag that you receive it out of. You know, when you go to certain stores and they see you walking around with a Tiffany bag or maybe a Gucci or Louis bag, a Masters bag is just the same. And so here we are.
Do you feel that we should just keep that one intact? Is that because this is the ham and rye that you and Jonathan so dreaded yesterday? Now take it. I got the knife, so I can experience it too here. And Jen can experience it.
We're gonna go for it.
That looks awful.
Can't say it's winning in the looks contest, but we're gonna give it a go.
A lot of ham on there.
Yeah,
a lot of ham. High ham to cheese ratio. Ham and cheese on rye. Preston, you're not gonna.
Didn't want to do this ASMR style. I know that's a thing on YouTube, but not here. It's what I thought.
Okay.
Better than expected.
Okay. All right.
The rye is not ryeing as much as I thought it would.
A little overpowered. A lot of ham. We get a lot of ham.
So it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm still cutting it, but it's fine.
Okay. Well, if you can get through that, maybe I can find a way to get through the egg salad here shortly. 803-404-6100. We'll taste test throughout the morning. We got a bunch of them. We got all of them. And we'll taste test as Preston Thorne. We'll get Jen in here. She was videoing for the Instagram page, so we'll have that as well. We'll get Jen in here to try the ham and cheese on rye as well in just a little while. But Masters will likely get going today, barring something I think kind of kooky with the weather. And Preston, I think even the most casual sports fan was drawn to Tiger Woods from about 1996 to 2011, about that 15-year period. Tiger was the most dominant athlete in all of sport, especially individual sport. And nobody, Max Verstappen, quite honestly, is kind of that guy right now in Formula One, where they basically, if they show up, if they're there and they're participating, you pretty much count on them to win. How much did that draw you in back in the day?
It was definitely cool. It was definitely gave me an insight as a very, very casual golf fan. I would only pay attention through the highlights that was on ESPN. And so when you start to see this guy start to dominate, and it's somebody that, much like the Williams sisters, I believe, and I always say the same thing, the Williams sisters, LeBron, Bryce Harper, somebody that was supposed to be the best and ended up being the best. It's so rare. We saw him, this kid from Stanford that's coming along, and you just hear these glimmers about this guy that's talking. And for it to actually come to fruition was really cool. And now we're seeing the end of the road, and it's really interesting.
is it hard for us? I'd go back and forth on this, like, because I wasn't a Tiger fan. I think the natural thing is when you have someone that dominant, you look for the flaws.
So you weren't a Tiger fan much in the same way I wasn't a Jordan fan.
Yeah, and I really wasn't a Jordan fan.
So, yeah, very similar.
I wasn't.
You know what they call that? Haters. So you could just say I was a hater. I was a Jordan hater. I wasn't a Tiger hater because I wasn't that interested. Bill, it's okay.
Is it
yeah,
being
it is.
Because again, as we both agreed, you would label probably the majority of the country, I'd go over 50% as haters, right? You label that because I don't think South Carolina is well liked. South Carolina women's basketball is well liked outside of South Carolina.
Well, for a while, yes. I think in this particular instance, I think people were getting on board and cheering for Caitlin as opposed to cheering against South Carolina. I would actively cheer against Jordan, and he would inevitably crush my dreams majority of the time. And I think that's what Tiger would do a lot of times also.
Well, but to your extent, what you're saying is like they were so dominant that when you knew they played, just like when Jordan got to the finals, whether it was Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, whether it was John Stockton and Karl Malone, whether it was Clyde Drexler.
I dislike Jordan so much that I found myself cheering for Karl Malone.
Yeah.
You know how far that bridge has to be in order to find yourself cheering for Karl Malone? And it still never worked.
I'm trying to think who else. Charles Barkley. He put away Charles Barkley.
But I like Barkley. I liked Seattle. Even found myself, hey, Portland Trailblazers, found that whole team, Terry Cummins, Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth. Cheering for these dudes. Yeah. I want these dudes to win. Mm-mm.
And then you'd get annoyed by just like one player on the Bulls that just helped out. Bill Winnington.
Yeah, all these guys.
Who was Bill Cartwright, I believe, was
Cartwright
in there.
Was a terrible shot.
Yeah, it just
so
like,
yeah. The point is, I don't know. You might not want to say it, but to say you were not a fan, was it you weren't a fan because he was dominant?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what we do in sports. We like the story early on when it's cute and cuddly, and it's kind of the same thing that I think we've watched. I think we watched with Golden State, and I think we're watching with Kansas City, and people now turning on Kansas City, turning on Patrick Mahomes. Oh, this Jason Kelsey, Taylor Swift, that's too much for me. Oh, that Andy Reid is just that Andy Reid is just a cheeseburger eating fool. If he didn't have those guys, he'd be nothing. Like, you just turn on him. And that's what, and I think Tiger also brought it upon himself a little bit with his personality. The way he was a prickly character, and until Thanksgiving of whatever year that was now, he didn't allow us into his personal life that much. We didn't know much about it. And therefore, I think that there was a disconnect between the fans and Tiger Woods. And then when his fall occurred, we all went, "Oh, you are human. You're not a superhero. You're not an alien. You're not something sent here from another world that just is abnormally better than the rest of us at what you do. Oh, okay, you make mistakes like I do. Now I like you."
So I think he made mistakes on a higher level than most people, let's just say.
He made multiples.
I'm not going to go down that path, and I'm not condoning. I'm not saying, but what he did happens a lot.
Oh, no question. No question.
Let's just keep it at that. Let's just keep it at the having an affair, being an adulterer. But I think a lot of people went, "Oh, you're flawed too. You're like me." Yeah, your flaws might be a little different. Mine might be eating an extra handful of cereal at 11 o'clock at night. But, okay, you're not the perfect one. And I think that's why even me teared up and cried when he won the Masters 5 years ago. Because it was such a moment of, actually being able to experience his greatness, and pull for him to have greatness.
Well, it was the first time he was great. All the other times, it was almost predestined for him to walk that path. It was the first time you saw him rise up, like you said, be a human being and overcome
Agreed.
Even if it was his own, through some of his own, because, you also had the car accident. He had a lot of different things that were happening. And that was the first time you saw him overcome and I think embody the true champion spirit. Much the same way if we go back to the Jordan idea. Yes, those first 3 Jordan titles were cool, but after he comes back from his father's murder and maybe some of the other off-the-field shenanigans, that one is even more special. People gravitate. So, yeah, you want to see your superheroes suffer and overcome that suffering. All of that being said, he's not winning this tournament.
I do agree with him, but there's a caveat to that. It kind of goes with everybody.
Yeah,
there's 89 golfers in that field.
You know what? If everything works out right, I could win.
Like I do agree with what he said. I also could agree with that with Fred Couples.
Yeah.
With Sergio Garcia.
Yeah, Sergio's like, you know what? If there wasn't this Tiger guy, I would have won everything.
Like, I do.
What do you think Phil's thinking?
Yeah,
Phil's like, you know what? If there wasn't just this dude in a red shirt, I might have won a little bit more.
I watched 51. I was there at 51 years old when Phil Mickelson won the PGA Championship. It's really one of the neatest sporting events of my life. And now I have a little bit of a resentment to Phil Mickelson because I feel like his actions have taken away from that. Like, I feel like what he has done has taken away from what I would say is one of my in-person greatest sporting moments. But Tiger saying, yeah, I do think if it all comes together and he can stay healthy for 72 holes, I will say again, I think that there will be one more time in his life where Tiger's in contention. And the reason I'll say that is because he knows that course. It's different than the U.S. Open, than the PGA Championship, than the British Open, where you rotate courses and you have to kind of learn on the fly. Half of Tiger can still figure out knows exactly where to hit the ball, where to put it on the green, how to make that putt.
It's great.
At the Masters, because he's done it so many times. And I think that's why, yes, I do say, okay. Now, would I bet on him? Oh, no.
Yeah, you said half. I would say less than half. I would say just whatever percentage of his brain is great. But there's a whole nother component called your body. That's not going to hold.
I was going to say, with that being said, there's 89 golfers in the field. If I was picking 35 golfers to win, Tiger would not be in that top 35.
All right, so let's not even say win. Will Tiger make the cut?
I really am interested to see this because I want to see how his body holds up. Because now, what's about to happen today, the opening round is going to be delayed, obviously. I haven't looked during that break. I was trying to get the sandwiches ready. I have not looked to see what the official word on the delay of the opening round is going to be. We are going to, as I'm trying to pull it up real quick, we are going to run into a situation where he very well could end up playing more than 18 holes in a day. And
that's already things not coming together for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that won't serve him well.
We already said here, one thing is already not good. The weather is bad.
Right. So it's just right now it's delayed by at least an hour, but it's going to be more than that, Jen. I don't know if you have a radar in there in front of you or how that works. If not, we'll pull it up.
Yeah, it's still looking like, it should be lunchtime. Maybe things should be done. Maybe a couple sprinkles after that. But by about 2 o'clock, it should be completely gone.
We'll get the TVs on here, and we'll keep an eye on that throughout the morning. All right, let me try this ham and rye that Preston has tried. Again, a lot of ham. Good ham mixture.
Solid.
A little mustard on here, too. A little mustard, so I'll do this, and you can commentate.
But is it processed ham, or is it like ham off of a ham?
That's a great question and a very big distinction. It looks like it's some form of processed ham.
Okay. So not when at Easter time you have the full ham and you slice it.
Not like spiral
it's more
slice
the
or
deli type ham.
Yes, it's more deli-ish ham. That might have gave it a little bit of an uptick to it. But Bill's going in for a second bite. I would advise you not to because there's a lot of sandwiches over there. So you might want to relax. Or do like they do on the food shows. You might need to have like the spittoon bucket over here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is apparently going to be breakfast for us all morning. Mm-hmm. Jen, we'll get you in here during the break and let you try some. Thank you again to Brian for having we got all of them.
Very much appreciated.
I do need to take a picture of the wrap, like you said, the green that matches everything.
It makes a difference.
Should we save the chicken salad or the pimento cheese?
One each break. Let's go. Pimento cheese.
But what I was going to say is the pimento cheese is one of the higher. Should we try the more highly thought of early?
Yeah.
While we're still in. All right. We got the pimento cheese will be in the next segment. 803-404-6100. 1, 2, 4, or 5. You know what? On the scale up, ham, cheese, and rye there, 4.
I can see how you could get there. Everything else was good except the rye.
4.
We would have went on a wheat. We would have been fine because there's an interesting cheese. It's not like it's solid.
It's 4.
The rye is what throws me off.
I'll get to some of these text messages when we come back. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions. At least right now, you're not thinking about jumping in your pool. It's number one, it's 6:30 in the morning. Number two, it's pouring rain out there. But that time is coming, and it's coming very quick. And you need to be thinking about pool maintenance. I know that's not something you think about on a daily basis, but I'm here to help you with that. And so is Corley Pool Solutions. You need to get in touch with them today because at Corley Pool Solutions, they know routine pool maintenance is crucial to the daily operation of your pool and the long-term operation of your pool systems and components. I bet you don't even think about that, how your pool is running. That's why Corley Pool Solutions is here to help you. They believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price. Call them today and line up your maintenance. 803-445-8109. They have flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. You know exactly what you're paying for. Call Corley Pool Solutions today. 803-445-8109.
Sloppy conditions out there this morning. We have an accident, Highway 1 near I-20. Also, 262 at Garner's Ferry Road. I-20 westbound at Longs Pond Road, disabled vehicle might impact traffic flow there. And basically 277 southbound there at Sunset Drive, an accident as well. Going to expect it to be kind of sloppy this morning. There is already a lot of standing water out there, so just proceed with caution. Take a little extra time if you can. Should be clearing out of here sometime after lunch, it's kind of looking like at this point. But storms and wind this morning, 79 for the high. Windy tomorrow, 72, but the rain will be clearing out. Sunny and 76 for Saturday, up to 84 with sunny skies on Sunday. 66 and rain right now.
Rolling along on this rainy, dreary Thursday morning, but it's going to clear out. And we're going to have some golf later on, talking a little Tiger Woods there. A couple of y'all weighing in on our Firehouse Subs text line. Craig weighs in and says, walking the National is like going on a hike with how hilly it is. That will be the toughest part for Tiger and his body.
Well, hilly and now wet.
True.
Which is another, is another aspect to it. So that's, yeah. And the interesting thing about hills is it's not really the going up; it's the going down the hill. That's the really tough part when you're talking about your body. Going up is maybe a little bit harder on your cardio, but your body's fine. Going down the hill is the tough part.
Try not to slip. Knees and ankles.
Yeah.
Says this is Grizz weighing. It says Tiger has almost zero chance of winning this weekend.
I'm with you, Grizz.
If it was a one-round tourney, he'd have a little bit better chance. But him walking Augusta National for 4 rounds, especially if he has to do more than 18 holes tomorrow due to the rain delay, his body just won't be able to hold up with all the walking. That's what makes me interested to see if he can make the cut in it.
Well, and with also the joint issues and things like that he may have, wet weather. Just makes everything ache more and stuff like that. I mean,
I think Tiger was up last night like, I feel the rain coming.
Exactly.
He's the only guy on the course that's like, guys, it's going to rain tomorrow. I feel it.
I think he felt it like Tuesday.
Guys, I feel it in my hip.
My ankle.
The barometric pressure is changing, I can tell.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. Some interesting news earlier this week coming out of Auburn as it pertains to Under Armour, Preston Thorne, and this seems to be something that South Carolina fans are always discussing. They don't like going down here to the bookshop or to whatever, to Gamecock Traditions or whatever, and purchasing Under Armour gear. Now, I will admit, I've come around on Under Armour gear. Certain things, the pullovers that you see me wearing, I'm not a big fan of their shoes. Obviously, a lot of people at times thought the shoes are an issue with foot injuries. I believe there was a photo taken, I don't know if it was doctored, though, of Juice Wells, Antoine Wells, wearing a Nike shoe that he was wearing when he broke his foot or re-injured his foot against Georgia. But you asked the question, all right, Auburn left. Could we be so lucky?
Yeah, could we be so lucky? And as I was looking at this topic, South Carolina signed a 10-year contract with Under Armour. But they signed that contract in 2016, which, how did we even get here? It seems like that just happened. And it's 2016, they signed a 10-year contract. And I'm sure when we were in 2016, like, oh, that's way far off in the future. Who has to worry about that? Well, guess what? We're right here. And they're going to start having the conversations about whether they're going to re-up this contract or whether or not they're going to go with Nike with another company, I should say, presumably Nike. Auburn is going with Nike. They had a really cool Twitter spot. It was a commercial. Did you see the video?
No.
So the athletic director just has his phone up, and there's text messages coming into his phone. One's from Charles Barkley. Is it done yet? The next one's from Bo Jackson. Are we on yet? The next one's from Tim Cook. Okay. Did we do it yet? And all the athletic director puts is a green check mark. He said, War Eagle. And I was like, oof, that's pretty strong. That's the cachet that Nike has as a brand that at this point Under Armour doesn't have. Now, when we went with Under Armour, which through my research, 2007, Bill.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier, click-clack.
My gosh.
All right, click-clack.
My gosh, 2007, that's like another lifetime ago. We're like really
That
invested
was
in this thing.
pre-kids on me, yeah.
Yeah, that's
My
another
kids
lifetime
only know
ago.
Under Armour in South Carolina.
When we went with Under Armour, it was a really cool, innovative thing that we were doing. It kind of made us different. It made us distinguished. The brand has been up and down, mostly down lately. And a lot of folks are trying to figure out what's going to end up happening. Now, Notre Dame signed a very big deal, 10 years, $100 million. This was 2 years ago. So I imagine if Under Armour offers that type of deal to South Carolina, we'll probably be back in Under Armour gear. But I'm really curious to see what is about to happen with this because there's a lot of implications as far as the branding of the sports program.
Let's be honest about this. There's only one program here that Nike would really want.
Yes.
And that's Dawn Staley and her women's basketball team. And Dawn Staley has enough cachet. I think that South Carolina could weasel their way into a jump man.
Jordan's subsidiary-ish. I get it.
You know, and of course, I think that's all different now. I'm not exactly sure how those business ties, I believe they were severed, they were broke. But it is something that I think South Carolina's going to have to make some decisions on. And quite frankly, the game out there is kind of limited now. Reebok, I don't think Reebok's in at all anymore.
One of my favorite pieces of knowledge about Reebok is when we go to visit schools, there's a picture of me playing. There's a picture of Langston actually playing in the NFL, and the jersey sponsored by Reebok. And we asked the kids, anybody know what that is? Nobody has a clue.
I don't.
Wow,
Do you think Austin knows what Reebok is?
I was just thinking we went looking for basketball shoes about a week and a half ago, and it has now dawned on me. I don't think I saw a Reebok shoe. And I'm just thinking, is there I got a computer right in front of
Reebok
me.
has rebranded themselves as a bargain deal. You find it at Walmart.
Really?
Like a budget kind of deal. That's how they've rebranded themselves.
Okay.
But it's almost like one of those badges of like, you wearing Reebok? Okay. You know, it's definitely far from being a cool thing.
There is a Court Victory pump shoe, Reebok Court Victory pump shoe. This is white and green. I don't know if you can turn that to you there a little bit. It's actually,
Yeah.
and it's $160.
Yeah, that's
Which
playing
also goes to show you shoe prices are ridiculous.
Well, that's playing on nostalgia. That's playing on somebody who pumped their shoes up with D. Brown in '93 or
That's
whatever.
true. Good point.
That somebody would do that only for nostalgia purposes. Believe you me, there are no, unless this becomes a TikTok trend, there are no children that are doing this.
Now, were you thrilled to walk in the locker room, on certain days for apparel day with Russell Athletic? Where you're like, man, getting some gear.
That's what I'm saying. Even way back in the 2000s, and I know, shout out to any of my friends in the orange that are wearing this, but we were jealous of them because they had the
Nike.
swoosh.
Yeah.
And we would be walking out there with our Russell Athletic, and it's like, bro, it's not quite. And then, so, when you're wearing the gear outside of the confines, it's not quite as cool to be wearing a Russell sweatshirt.
Weren't real thrilled going to class. Jonathan, that's what took Jonathan Alston a year to ask his wife.
Yeah.
He only had.
Yeah, you got to turn that Russell inside out, man. It's not Nike. You know what I'm saying? So this has been a thing for a while. We made a little bit of stride with Under Armour. Obviously, it's not Russell, but I'm very curious to see where this goes.
Texter weighs in and says, what would happen? Phil actually weighs in. What would happen with Malaysia Fulwali's Under Armour deal if South Carolina switched to Nike? And that's
You're perfectly, man. Are you on the show rundown? This is exactly the conversation I think we're going to have after the break.
Well, we're also going to discuss this pimento cheese sandwich.
Good job, Phil. Appreciate you being in on the show.
Phil's looking ahead. But we're also going to do, this is the pimento cheese sandwich from the Masters. Jen has been putting this on social media this morning. Now, this is one of the traditions unlike any other, is the true pimento cheese sandwich, and this is Preston Thorne now. Okay. Got himself a little corner piece there. A little crust. It felt like it was a lot of, he made sure to get the crust piece in there. Yeah? Oh, we're getting 2 thumbs up. You'll hear from Preston Thorne on the pimento cheese master sandwich. Thank you again to our buddy Brian for bringing us sandwiches back yesterday from the Masters. They were in the fridge. Didn't leave them out overnight.
Okay, I wanted to be sure about that. They weren't sitting out at your front doorstep or something for hours on end.
They were good. They have been stored properly, so they are prepared for consumption this morning. We've got a whole bunch more to get to, but we'll also talk about what Phil just brought up. What would happen with Malaysia Fulwiley, the Under Armour deal, all of that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Yeah, that's good. Crust gives a little bit of texture.
I sense we have differing opinions on the pimento cheese.
Bill?
I would have rather. There was a time on this show, I believe during COVID, Jen, if I remember correctly. It was after the South Carolina North Carolina bowl game. So I think it was during COVID.
Did y'all do a mayonnaise bit?
I had to eat I forget why I had to eat a mayonnaise donut.
Oh, yeah. It was with Patrick.
Yeah.
And, yeah, there was some kind of a wager because there were a few things that had been consumed on the show, like a sucker that had a cricket in it and things like that. But
Now I get the hiccups.
Yeah.
It's great. It's going to make for great radio. Yeah, I was not a fan. Preston, you were all in on the pimento cheese. You like
solid.
that?
This solid. I got a little bit of the crust of the bread, so I gave me a little bit of texture to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Probably better on a cracker for me, but you're just not a fan of pimento cheese.
No, I eat it on hamburger.
Gotcha.
I
okay, you
will.
just didn't like theirs. It almost had a little zip to it or a little
Yeah, Jen tried
peppery
it.
something.
Jen-
And it wasn't bad.
Yeah, okay. 803-404-6100. 1, 2, 4, or 5. I give that a 1.
1? Wow.
Ham, cheese, and rye a 4 right now. Pimento cheese a 1. We'll get to what do we got? What we'll do during the next one. What is this? No. I'm not following that up with the egg salad. That'll ruin the morning. You'll be doing the next 30 minutes completely by yourself. We'll do chicken salad next. We'll get to chicken salad in the next break. You can check this out. We're on the Game TV if you want to go and watch us streaming there and see what we're doing during the break here as we try sandwiches. That one you would have seen me wander off quickly just to avoid anything.
He did step away kind of quickly with the pimento cheese.
6100 as we roll along here on a rainy Thursday morning. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. So, yeah, this is interesting. So Malaysia Fulwali, this is where now we're going to have with NIL, we're going to have the cross brands like we do in professionally. I'm always fascinated. I always laugh at the SEC. If you ever noticed this, at the SEC, I'm using the SEC tournament. Let's just say the SEC basketball tournament. If a coach likes to drink a Diet Coke during a game, Dawn might have done this. They have to take the wrapper off, or you have to tape up the water bottle,
right?
So that the brand name cannot be seen. So I don't, how does it work now if a college player
Does Louis Vuitton make
has
a
a
koozie?
brand deal?
Gucci, a Gucci koozie.
Gucci koozie might not work. Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting because the reason why this all came together with Malaysia is because she had ties to the Steph Curry basketball camp, which he had for women basketball players. She had ties. Then she happened to be going to a Under Armour school, which is part of the Curry brand. They tried to make a Curry brand to get away from the stink of Under Armour, but we all know it's Under Armour. So you have that. Then she also happens to be a phenomenal player. Then she also has to be on the undefeated team. All these things converge together to get this particular deal. Now, the only issue is, what if this school is not backed by Under Armour? Do they pursue that? You can pursue that as an individual.
Right.
But if the team is geared or sponsored to wear a certain product, you have to wear that product. So that's where teams stand now. Now, obviously, people try and get around those things. You've seen players spat up their cleats. You've seen all types of things like that. But as it stands, if the team is contracted for a specific brand, the player must wear that brand when wearing the team uniform. She can do whatever she wants in her own personal time. It just happens that this synergy works together for them right now. So that could be something that we'll see during the
Which would be interesting because you would think that the sponsor would like to see their brand during a game.
You
but
would.
obviously the negotiations would indicate that, it can only be in your personal time. But it's all going to be very interesting with all of the NIL opportunities.
So, for instance, last year, LSU is a Nike school. And I don't know if you remember this commercial where Haley Van Lith was in the Adidas commercial. So you can sign individual deals, right. But when you're playing for that specific team, you have to be on the team brand.
But again, could she tape up her shoe, wear her shoe?
I don't think the sponsors would like that very much. It's just I don't know how that would work.
I do think there was something with someone being fined a year. I can't remember if it was baseball maybe who was wearing
I mean that's always a thing in the NFL. If the NFL has certain, players can sign individual contracts, but if the team is contracted by a certain group, players can wear their cleats. You might just take a fine for it or whatever the case is. That won't be the case in college because they're not going to have that much money. But it does present an interesting conundrum. But we've seen this in basketball before. Players were choosing to go to Nike schools or Adidas schools for whatever reasons. So a lot of this conversation is just being above board instead of below the table.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. So next up, chicken salad. I feel like this is going to be another one, kind of like pimento cheese. Either I'm going to be drinking a lot of that water that's over there, or I'm going to be perfectly fine with it. There's going to be no middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for that one?
Let's do it.
I don't know if that's the one that has the honey on it. We'll have to wait and see as we continue our taste test. Thank you to our buddy Brian, who brought us master sandwiches. We've tried the ham and cheese on rye. We've tried the pimento cheese during the break. We're going to try the chicken salad. We will give you those thoughts and Chop Talk. Talk a little Braves when we come back. Uh-oh. No? Oh, Preston says it's okay, the chicken salad. We'll get the whole breakdown when we come back. But first, I want to tell you about Love Chevrolet. That's right. The season is rolling along over at Love Chevrolet, where it is the Springtacular sale. You want to go check it out. Love Chevrolet's taking care of you with 14 acres of brand new Chevrolets, and those include such the great brands as Suburbans, Tahoes, Silverados, Trailblazers. It's time for you to get behind the wheel and feel the possibilities. New adventures, new roads, new destinations. That's right. You can go experience it all at Love Chevrolet, where that sales staff is absolutely second to none. They're going to treat you with integrity, honesty, respect. They're going to make sure you find the car, truck, or SUV that you've been looking for. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
And it is a mess out there this morning because of all of that rain. Let's see. We have 277 southbound at Sunset Boulevard. Sorry, that was just popping in. 277 southbound at Sunset Boulevard. Also, we're looking at an accident. Johnson Marina Road at Highway 76 up in the Irmo Ballantyne area. I-20 westbound at Longs Pond Road, there is a disabled vehicle. And then 262 at Garner's Ferry. Highway 1 near I-20, there is an incident there, and it actually has traffic backed up where they're not letting you head towards Columbia out of Lexington. So if you get to the library, you are going to be diverted right now. So keep that in mind. Rain till a little after lunch today.
Maybe the upset of the morning just occurred. I took one look at the don't cut yourself there. I took one look at the chicken salad sandwich from the Masters and the little green baggie. I was pretty sure that was not going to go well. Instead, it gets a rating 1, 2, 4, or 5. It gets a 5. That was delicious. I even cut myself another little slice of the Masters sandwiches that we are tasting this morning. Thank you to our buddy Brian, who brought us back a whole bunch. The next one I pulled out is the barbecue sandwich. But so far, Preston Thorne, our tasting has gone very well.
Yeah, and I see the honey on the chicken salad.
Oh yeah, it has honey.
I see the honey on top of it, so I can see how this works. So this is going well. I do see how some of the judges in these food competitions, I have gained a greater respect for them.
Okay,
because these things don't seem like they're stopping. They're coming one after the other.
All right.
We're here for it.
803-404-6100. We'll try the barbecue sandwich. Really get invested. We're going to have to go buy another water here downstairs in a few minutes, but we are rolling along. Now it's time for a little Chop Talk, sponsored by Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply over in Lexington. Right now, you can get a fertilizer and weed control program, and if you mention you heard Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply right here on Chop Talk, you'll get a mulch discount, whether it's planting mix, screen topsoil, or assorted sizes of River Rock. Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply have you taken care of. Visit their website. That's LexingtonLandscapeSupply.com, or give them a phone call. 803-446-6525. Again, 803-446-6525. Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, the official sponsor of Chop Talk. And on Saturday night, the Braves had a huge rally.
Line drive out to short, sliding stop by Arcia, throws over, Braves win! My, what a play! And a great exclamation mark to end this ball game, and what a memorable comeback win for the Braves.
I was actually in Atlanta. I was at Live, the bar, Preston, right next to the stadium. I went to the game on Sunday, but it was crazy. They get down 6 runs on Saturday night, early on to the Diamondbacks, and then rally and win that ball game, and then they go on to sweep the Diamondbacks. They win 5-2 on Sunday. Unfortunately, news from the weekend not good. Spencer Strider dealing with an injury.
Yeah, the UCL. We've heard this over and over and over again, and it's unfortunately becoming a reoccurring theme in baseball right now. You're seeing your pitchers start to come up with this particular injury pretty frequently, and it's not a good forecast for him to go see the specialist.
Right.
I feel like they're being very precautious and maybe breaking the news gently, but
I think they're hoping for the best.
Yeah,
and kind of expecting the worst.
Yeah, I would say probably lean more towards expecting the worst on what this is going to come about going.
Braves off to a 7-3 start. Yesterday's game against the Mets was postponed. They are scheduled to play today at 12:20. I'm assuming they will get the game in at some point. No word yet right now on a postponement for that particular game. But taking on the hated Mets right now. And again, today it's Quintana taking on Alan Winions, I believe is how you say it. Mets and Braves again. That is scheduled for 12:20 later on today. Right now, you look at Major League Baseball across the board. Shohei Ohtani, he had been red hot. What am I going for? Multi-base? Why did I just blank on
the chicken salad might be getting to you.
Yeah, sandwiches as a whole. and just for the record, sandwiches and coffee are not a good mix. I've been drinking a lot more water. But Shohei Ohtani is off to a pretty good start for the Dodgers right now. Yankees off to a red-hot start, 10-3 on the season. The Cleveland Guardians 9-3 on the season to start. Texas Rangers lead the West with a 7-5 record, and the Braves right now 2 games up already on the Phillies, 3 games up on the Nationals. Braves 7-3.
Bill, I got a stat for you.
Oh boy,
you're gonna love this one. Mike Trout.
Whom? Where is this guy?
Mike Trout. Out in Anaheim or wherever they are now, balling as usual.
Of course he is.
5 home runs. You know how many RBIs?
14?
5.
Are you serious?
5 solo home runs on the season. It's just Mike Trout just being like, hey, man, I'm going to put the team on my back. We're still going to be sorry. But so at first I heard it was 4. He had 4 home runs, 4 RBIs. And then he hit another one. I haven't seen his most recent statistic update, but the last I saw, it was 5 home runs, 5 RBI, which basically means nobody's doing anything else out there. He doesn't hit leadoff, by the way.
It's crazy what poor Mike Trout. Mike Trout's going to be the most underappreciated baseball player ever in the history of Major League Baseball. Just a Ronald Acuna Jr. update so far. Played in all 10 games. He's had 39 at-bats, batting just .256 on the season right now. Has yet to hit a home run. Only has 4 RBIs, 12 total bases. Has walked 7 times and struck out 13. You mentioned Mike Trout having an interesting season. Acuna Jr., you expect him to pick it up as things go along, but right now not the kind of start he wanted to start the season.
I heard something really interesting. You think about the baseball season, every 10 games of a baseball season is the equivalent to like a football game, right? So there's 16 games in a football season. You would kind of just pace it out. So we're probably at about, the 10 or 12 game mark right now in baseball?
10. They played 10. They're 7-3.
So you would kind of essentially break that down to that's the first week of the football season. So I'm just saying that to say if a team went 0-1, you wouldn't necessarily be freaking out, or you wouldn't even think they were going to be great. So all I'm saying is the season is long. Look at the season in 10-game increments and get a gauge for where they are during that time.
Check this. We got to check our stats here. We get a text in that says, after last night, I believe it says real time, 6 homers, 8 RBIs.
Oh!
So it sounds like last night Trout got hot.
Ooh. Trout's been hot. The rest of the team got on base. Trout's been doing what he's done. Thank you for the update. Really appreciate that. Trout's on pace to have 88 home runs and 95 RBIs.
And still only win 50 games. Only 50 games.
Shout out to you, Ron Washington. We support you.
Jared Kalenic is leading the way for the Braves right now.
On fire.
24-year-old. Yeah, you got the stats there in front of you.
He's on fire, man. And I had to check through the stats a couple of times. I just gave that whole speech about how we shouldn't overreact. But right now, Jared Kalenic's hitting .462, which is very, very impressive. And if you subscribe to the Athletic, there's a really interesting article about how Jared tinkered with his swing a little bit during spring training, and it's really got him seeing the ball better. He's a lot more comfortable at the plate. It's a really cool article. If you want to get really, really dorky into baseball stuff, I would advise you to read it. But regardless, doing really well right now, batting average of .462, on base percentage of 517. He's playing really well right now.
Braves travel to the Miami Marlins this coming weekend, starting tomorrow night, 7:10 game. Max Fried will be on the mound. Chris Sale, who I watched pitch on Sunday and looked very good, gets the start Saturday. And, is it when you hit 40, is it still Charlie, or does it become Charles?
Charles is a name that can go either way. I mean, I know old men of both of them, so I'm not sure how that works.
I didn't know if as you get older it goes from Charles to Charlie or Charlie to Charles, but Charlie Morton will get the start on Sunday for the Braves. Again, they will be in Miami over the weekend before heading over to Houston the 15th, 16th, and 17th for a 3-game set with the Astros. That is your Chop Talk, again sponsored by Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, sodding South Carolina 1 square foot at a time. You can visit them on the web, LexingtonLandscapeSupply.com. You want to make sure that your yard is ready to play some baseball in this coming spring and summer, and Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply can help you with that. Right now, take advantage of a fertilizer or weed control program, and when you mention this ad or Chop Talk, give them a phone call. When you mention it, you'll get a mulch discount. That's right. You can get a mulch discount with Carolina Turf, Grass, and Landscape Supply, located out in Lexington, just off of Augusta Road. Give them a phone call, 803-446-6525. They even have planting mix, screen topsoil, and assorted sizes of river rock for your yard. That is your Chop Talk there as we give you a little Braves update. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in on that. We'll get into a few other things this morning. More injuries on pitchers. We'll take a broader look at it. Maybe Preston's got an answer. We are efforting a pitching expert, Kip Bulknight, this morning. He might not be available, though, but we will continue along. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Number one.
Coming up during the break, we're going to try the barbecue sandwich, and we'll talk all about that. And you know what barbecue can do, as delicious as it might be, can cause a stain on that carpet, that rug that you have at the house. But that's okay. I got the pros at Zerorez that can help get it out. And you know what? They can even make spring cleaning easier on you with their patented ZR water technology that does not leave behind soaps or harsh chemicals, doesn't leave behind a sticky, soapy residue. That means you can even feel comfortable this spring rolling around on your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery, whatever it is. You can feel comfortable with the kids playing on it, the pets rolling around on it. So call Zerorez today and take advantage of their April sale. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. You can book online, ZerorezColumbia.com, or again, you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
Big mess out on the highways this morning. We're looking at 277 southbound at Sunset Boulevard. Also Johnson Marina at Highway 76. Highway 1 near I-20. Something going on there. And if you are heading from Lexington into Columbia, you are going to get diverted around the library somewhere in that vicinity. So just kind of keep that in mind. Map out an alternate route if you can. It's sloppy conditions for sure. The rain that's coming down, we're getting, there's a lot of standing water and such. That should be clearing out sometime after lunch. So that is good news, but windy with storms and some potentially heavy rains. 72 for the high tomorrow, 76 on Saturday. Right now it is rainy. It is 66 on the early game.
Eight zero 404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to choose to do so. Talking a little baseball, talking a little Masters. We'll get back into some of that. But we've also been talking sandwiches. Our buddy Brian, we'll call him Brian C. I don't know if he wanted me to use his last name, but I don't know how he acquired these sandwiches. So we'll just say Brian. I know that he acquired them from the Masters.
A very special set of skills. When people bring you stuff and you don't ask questions.
No.
You just say thank you.
Very, very appreciative of Brian this morning out in Lexington bringing us this. And we've now tried the ham, cheese, and rye on rye, to which I gave a 4.
Mm-hmm.
We have tried the pimento cheese, which I gave a 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was awful. We have tried the chicken salad, which I thoroughly enjoyed that. I gave that a 5. And we have just tried the Masters barbecue sandwich. And it says real pit-cooked pork barbecue sandwich. It does not come in a green baggie. And both of us, I gave it a 5. What are your ratings so far?
Obviously, I knew I was going to be out on the rise, so it's not anybody's fault. It's no fault of anybody.
You're happy with the ham?
The ham was fine, and the cheese was fine. It just was out on the rise, so I'll give that a 2.
Okay.
The pimento cheese, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
The pimento cheese was actually to my liking. I did appreciate that. Chicken salad, the honey on that was very good. I'll give that a 4. And the barbecue sandwich, I'll give it a 4.5.
Oh, wow.
4.5.
Okay.
Very, very good. Very, very solid sandwich.
So we will I am desperately avoiding that egg salad that I know is coming down the pipe. And
Bill, listen. It's like the playoffs, man. You're going to play them eventually.
Yep.
You're going to have to play them eventually, Bill. Do you want to play them in the championship, or do you want to play them
in the next break? We will get to the Masters Club. The Masters Club will be, and again, you go to the Game TV, and you can't hear us, but you can watch us there, and you can see reactions. And sometimes reactions speak a lot more than words. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Again, you can always listen to us 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Reminder, you can download us on the 107.5 The Game app. Go to your app store, and, of course, you can always stream us on the Game TV on YouTube. It's sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Make sure you go and you can check us out there. 803-404-6100. So you're interested in this. Obviously, the Spencer Strider news over the weekend, and we'll continue to monitor his situation with the Braves. That would be a blow to them. Shane Bieber, another one for the Guardians, going down with an injury. And you've got an article out of The Athletic that's you're kind of interested about, that talks about Major League Baseball being a little worried about what's going on.
Yeah, well, there seems to be a closing epidemic of these injuries that are happening. And it's specifically the UCL, which is the proper name is going to be the ulnar collateral ligament, which we used to call the Tommy John surgery. It's the inside part of your elbow that's really been an issue for a lot of these players. And there's a lot of data that's going around. If you're a baseball person, you're obviously very familiar with this. But right now we've seen hit a point where it's these younger Tommy John, when he had his surgery a long time ago, he was old, and it felt like that was part of him being the older guy. But now you're seeing these younger people, and almost UCL surgery is almost becoming like ACL surgery for football, where it's a thing where people almost expect you to have it at some point. It's obviously not the death knell for your career, but it does serve. There is something that is happening. And if we were to lay this out, say if we were writing an essay, you could pick from one of the reasons. There are a couple of reasons why people are feeling like this happening. The one most quickest, obvious, or the most recent one is the pitch clock. People are thinking that, people are hypothesizing that the pitch clock is contributing to the influx of injuries. Two and three, the chase for speed. Players are throwing faster and faster and faster every day. It's nothing to turn on a Major League Baseball game and see a pitcher throwing 100 miles per hour. Right. Whereas back in my day, that was a major accomplishment. On top of speed, you have spin. Players are throwing these more and more aggressive off-speed pitches, your curveballs, your splitters, all those things, putting a lot of stress on themselves when they're throwing it. And then the last one, which is a bigger one, which we don't have time to get into, is the amount of pitching they're doing leading up to
That's a big thing.
That's a huge thing. And they're talking about the idea of youth baseball, what youth baseball has turned into, the idea of travel leagues, the idea of all year round baseball. So there's a lot of different things. And basically, nobody's saying it's one thing, but this mix of they're calling it the mix of this cocktail is becoming pretty lethal for pitchers and their elbows.
I'll have to go back. There's a really good article that talks about what pitches are being thrown right now. And one of the things that is being noticed is that the major leagues is throwing more sinkers this year. They've gone back to the sinker ball, and that's kind of interesting. And there's the thought that might help save some of these elbows, some of these injuries that you're suffering from. A couple of people weighing in this morning. Texter says, referring to kids, says they're playing way too much baseball when they're young. And there is that theory out there, and Cody in West Columbia agrees with it. Says kids play way too much baseball at a young age. So there's two back-to-back texters basically weighing in and saying the same thing.
I would like to dedicate a dedicated show or time as we move closer to the summer to that concept, because I do think I'm in agreement with the two texters. I do think that's something that we definitely need to be looking out for, because you can't play these baseball games without somebody pitching. And usually, as people are trying, and this has always been a thing in Little League, you've always tried to limit pitches, don't throw curveballs before you get to, all of these things are happening. But now that they're playing year-round, multiple tournaments, multiple games all the time, repetitive use type of injuries, this is something that we've created.
It is. You and I and most people our age, I would say 35 to 50, somewhere in there, maybe, and then older. But you're right. We had defined seasons. I played baseball in the spring. In the fall, I played soccer. In the winter, I played basketball. And there was no cross training for me growing up from the age of about 7 to about 14. And then at 14, I believe it was right around 13 or 14, I kind of had to make that decision. And for reasons still, I know I was good, but height-wise, not sure why I went with basketball. But you're right. That's the thing, whereas travel baseball now is essentially played basically from February 1 through almost June 1, and then you pick up back in mid-August, and you go September 1 through almost November 1. And that is a lot of baseball, especially if your child is pitching. And I guess it's probably the same if your kid's playing shortstop or third base and having to throw across the diamond.
Yeah, you're still throwing these balls. So as part of a study, a comprehensive study, and this is just a statistic, and you can take statistics for a grain of salt or whatever, but it says almost 57% of UCL reconstruction surgeries in the United States involve 15 to 19-year-olds.
Wow.
And that number, they say, is increasing almost 9% each year. A recent study found out that about 27% of the 845 elite high school pitchers who threw for pro baseball scouts had this surgery. So this is an onslaught that is coming. We're just seeing the peak at the major league level, but this is an onslaught that is coming, and I think it's more so a product of the system we produce. And again, that's a big thing. But on the major level, now you have the pitch clock. Also, you have these guys trying to throw 100 miles per hour every single pitch. And on top of that, they're trying to increase the spin rate on the ball, trying to throw these deadly singers because guess what? These hitters are tremendous. I have to figure out a way how to get them out. And the game of baseball has changed. It's power pitching, home runs. That has changed the game of baseball.
How much weightlifting, also, I'll just ask this, did you do for baseball back in your day?
Yeah, there was always that. There was still, I mean, even a long time ago, there was still other conversations like, should you be lifting weights? What does that do for your body? All of those things that happen. We've always been trying to figure out arms and to start with, pitching is an unnatural motion, right? There's a reason why you can only pitch so many innings as a pitcher overhand, whereas softball, which is a more natural motion which goes with your body, a softball pitcher can pitch a whole weekend tournament and you don't see these same things because it's not the same. So pitching is unnatural as a movement to start with. On top of that, you just throw on the repetitive use of it, and it seems to be down a road that we're not going to be happy heading down.
We'll see if they can continue to fix that or work with that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning. As we have been testing sandwiches, talking baseball, talking Masters. So far, we've gone through the chicken salad sandwich. We've gone through the barbecue sandwich, the ham cheese on rye, and the pimento cheese, which almost caused a sickness. But the next up will be the Masters Club. We'll try that. But first, Jen, do we have that? I sent you on Twitter. Dustin Johnson famously said before the 2000 Masters that he was a lover of all Masters sandwiches. Said he just loved them. He said, I don't know if it's really a tradition. He was asked what he likes the most about the Masters. He said, I don't know if it's really a tradition, but my favorite thing about the Masters is the sandwiches.
My guy.
For those of you wondering, Columbia's own Dustin Johnson, here is how to make a pimento cheese sandwich.
Hey guys, Dustin Johnson here. This is how you make one of my personal favorites, pimento cheese sandwich. First, you have to make sure you have all the ingredients. 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, 1 cup of shredded Monterey Jack cheese, 4 ounces of cream cheese, a ½ cup of mayonnaise, a jar of pimentos, 1 tablespoon of minced onion, a 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon cayenne pepper, and a dash of salt and pepper. Mix it until it's smooth and creamy. Spread it on some white bread and you're good to go.
What do you think?
I'm not a pimento cheese expert, so I don't know, never know how to make it, but it sounded right. Was that him going, as he tasted it?
Oh, yeah, he was having a good time.
All right.
There's a video of it.
Okay.
He was having a good time doing it. 803-404-6100. Columbia's own Dustin Johnson, who's won himself a Masters green jacket, also apparently a culinary wizard with the pimento cheese. We'll try this Masters Club. We'll get into a little bit of John Calipari as well. He had some interesting things to say yesterday and takes the new job there with Arkansas. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, she's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Preston here. Let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you. Yes, they will come out to wherever you are, whether you're at school, home, work, the Masters, wherever. They'll come out to your location, they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. Now, if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say all the time, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Slopping conditions out there for sure this morning because of all of this rain that should be clearing out sometime after lunch. But we do have a report of a power line down on Leesburg Road. If you're heading towards like Green Lawn Cemetery, it's right near there. So if you were headed that direction, get to Garner's Ferry before you get to the cemetery because of that down power line. Highway 1 near I-20 really has things backed up. Last we heard, they're diverting traffic off of Highway 1 heading in to Columbia around the library. So make plans in that area. Also a tie-up Johnson Marina Road at 76, 277 southbound at Sunset Boulevard. So be careful out there this morning. Some standing water on the roadways.
Our morning of sandwiches rolls on as we get ready for the Masters, which has been delayed right now due to rain and wind and storms. We've actually, here at the studio, we've actually had the power flicker twice. Both of us have looked at each other like, uh-oh. So it's definitely not nice out there. But our morning of sandwiches as we get ready for the Masters continues on. We just tried the Masters Club.
I have a complaint.
And
I need to talk to the manager.
It brought strong feelings from everybody here. Even Jen didn't try it, but Jen had strong feelings. Preston, what were your strong feelings?
As soon as I opened the bag, I saw the first problem, the issue. It was on a bun.
Like a hamburger bun.
It's on a sesame seed bun. That is not a club. There's never been a club on a sesame seed bun. Clubs don't come on buns. They come on bread, preferably toasted. I understand the logistics about not being able to travel with toast. This is not a club, though. So that's my first issue. The second obvious issue is there's no bacon.
Right.
And so what are we doing? Third, I tend to like my clubs stacked, usually with a nice toothpick through the middle of the cut in triangles. Maybe I just had too high expectations because they've been knocking everything else out the park. But I, yesterday, put my club as the thing that I would start, and now I'm cutting. Cut the club. Get him out of here. Overrated.
So you're going with a 1.
1.
Now, Jen wanted to call it something else, a putter, I believe.
Yeah, not a.
She wanted to call it a putter because Jen apparently is a club girl, as we all know. But this, you're right. That was the problem. I think if it was labeled as something different, you would be okay with it.
Probably.
The problem you have is misrepresentation of a club sandwich.
False advertising.
False advertising. Mm-hmm. Okay. I actually thought the sandwich was pretty good.
I couldn't get past the
little turkey, good little ham there, some cheese. As a sandwich, it was good, but I'm with Preston. We'll have to give this a 1 because it's false advertising at its finest. So we continue to rate sandwiches. Again, thank you to our buddy Brian, who brought us sandwiches. We're down to this egg salad. I keep moving around in here.
Bill, this is like the Final Four. Bill, do you want the hardest game in the championship, or do you want it to get to the championship?
This is the classic chicken, and I feel like we're gonna have to save that to make up for whatever happens with this egg salad, if I can get past it. So. Coming up in the next break.
It's our game of matchups, Bill. It's all about matchups.
We will try the egg salad, and I don't know if I will survive that. 803-404-6100. By the way, the Masters has posted they are monitoring the weather closely. Gate openings and tee times have been delayed until further notice. The first round will not begin before 9 a.m. It will not begin before 9 a.m. So that's where we stand right now as it pertains to the Masters in Preston. We're just talking about it. That's not ridiculous at this moment if they make them play in this weather. But again, we go back to what we've said. I really am only focused at this point. We'll let the Masters kind of shake out today and tomorrow, get to the weekend. But the reason I point out not delayed until 9 a.m. is because the one and only Tiger Woods, this pushes his prospects of of having to play more than 18 tomorrow even further.
Yeah, and that's not going to work out. As we stated earlier in the 6 o'clock, I'm going to take the under of him not making the cut, just simply because of his physical limitations. And he stated that all the stars had to align, and if all those things happen, he could do it one more time. Well, already we're out the gate with a bad start as far as weather is concerned, and as Texter pointed out, just walking the course is a challenge in itself. When it's dry, when it's wet, it's going to be even more damp, cold, rainy, all those things that are not good for old people.
Yeah, Tigers scheduled to play today with Jason Day and Max Homa. Their tee time was set, I guess you would say, because it says tee times were set for 8 a.m., which we now know is not going to happen at least until 9. But his tee time was set for 1:24. So now you're already talking 2:24 at the absolute earliest. And the Masters does not like doing we'll start on 1 and 10 unless they absolutely have to. So now you're already talking about Tiger teeing off at least 2:24, 2:30ish. He could still get the round in. It would be pushing up. It would be pushing up on daylight, the end of daylight at about 6:30.
That's almost dinner time for Tiger.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's time for Tiger.
He's gonna need one of these sandwiches that we've been getting all morning.
That's for dinner time.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Our buddy Steven Twig, he weighs in. Says Sub-Air Place won't be that wet. It will be for patrons. They are
okay.
Right. But still, I think for Tiger, the big thing here is trying to get the full round in later on today. A couple of y'all are weighing in on the club sandwich. A couple people here weighing in. I believe one person accused you of having expectations that were simply too high on this.
This is the Masters, man. This is what everybody's been talking about. I'm just going in with sufficient expectations.
Actually, it said Preston. I'm sorry. This came from Zach. He said, Preston, your expectations weren't too high. They were just right. Everything you mentioned is the basic foundation of the club sandwich.
That's all I'm saying. That's all. Listen. These are some of the basics we have to have: bacon, toasted bread, cut in triangles, stacked high. It's a club.
Rooster P weighed in. He said, call it the divot.
Good one.
803.
Yeah, that's good.
803-404-6100. Chad says, what? On a bun? No bacon? Ludicrous.
First thing I saw.
Not a club. You're right, Preston.
Thank you.
Steve in Blythewood saying Tiger won't play in any rain or cold. He'll play. He just might not finish. We've seen that. Totally different. 803-404-6100. Brad says if it was going to happen, it needed to happen today before he's already hurting from a previous round. Yeah, that's what we're saying. He's got to get out there. And then Rooster P also saying shots fired by Preston, referring to Tiger as old people.
I'm amongst this. As in we.
803-404-6100. Texter weighs in. Went to the Masters first time yesterday. Thought the exact same thing as soon as I opened the club sandwich. So we are all in agreement. While a very nice golf tournament at a very nice location, the Masters is portraying false advertising with a club sandwich that is not a club sandwich.
Even if you do everything right, there's still room for improvement.
There's a lot of room for improvement on that. We'll get to the egg salad next. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Yeah, we're going to go to John Calipari right now. Yeah, yesterday, John Calipari meeting with the media. This is an interesting comment. Here's what John Calipari had to say about meeting with Kentucky.
You know what? I'm jacked about another opportunity. I'm like, let's go. Now, I met with the team. There is no team. So now Hunter's really extremely confident, but we got to get a roster together. And some of it is a little bit of everything, but we will. It may take a little longer because there are kids that put their name in the NBA draft that are going to go through.
The old, I met with the team. There is no team. That he's referring to Arkansas. I'm sorry, I said Kentucky, but that was his meeting with his new team, Arkansas, to which they have had some guys enter the transfer portal. They lost a recruit that followed Eric Musselman out to Arkansas. John Calipari, it felt like he was making excuses already.
Listen, man, John's just laying the foundation for, listen, if whatever happens this year, just give me some time. I've got 5 years. I believe the contract is stated for a lot of money. We're going to be good. I'm excited about this opportunity.
Just, give me time and I'll start cooking.
Just let me
I'll
cook.
present you a club sandwich that has toasted bread, bacon.
By the way, did Mark Stoops win?
Yes, I think he did. Let's go back to that.
Did he win?
Did Mark Stoops run off John Calipari? We'll talk a little bit about that. 803-404-6100. Jay from the Interstate says, sounds like the club sandwich is a shank. It's the early game. Oh. We're gearing up for the egg salad master sandwich right now, but I got to tell you about Mid-State Roofing first because I need to tell you about Mid-State Roofing before I try this egg salad. The rest of the show could go completely sideways. All the rain that we're having, you need someone who's protecting your roof. I know you don't think about it on most days, but you need to be thinking about it. And the folks at Mid-State Roofing, they're ready to protect your roof. They've been the leader in the roofing industry, the roofing and waterproofing industry for nearly 30 years. And right now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they are still protecting your roof and making sure it's waterproof. Call and you will speak with an on-call technician or with a Mid-State Roofing employee. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, somebody is there to help you. 803-356-1919. Again, it's 803-356-1919 to help put you in a maintenance contract and make sure your operation stays dry and up and running. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Preston throwing back in. Bill Gunner went to go get water to get himself prepared for the final boss of the Master Sandwiches, which is the egg salad. It's his toughest opponent. If he beats the egg salad, he can advance to the chicken sandwich. And so that's why we had to put it here in this place. But we was having a lot of conversation earlier. We was talking about this, and I know we have somebody out there wanted to talk about UCL injuries and Tommy John surgery. I think it's a big conversation that everybody will be having, but I'm interested to go out here. Jen, can we go out to our caller about the Tommy John surgery?
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, good to talk to you, Preston. You know, I was intrigued by this. I actually got to see some of this firsthand from actually I'll call him a local, but a Camden grad and a College of Charleston grad that actually played for the Angels. And he actually had 3 Tommy John surgeries while playing in the league, and recovered from them. But I will say that it was brutal to watch the rehab and the and what it took for him to get back to that level and throw in the 90s. And that was a mid-inning reliever, so it wasn't like he was, pitching every game and massive pitch counts and Mike Kahn and everything. But, it's a crazy surgery. I was intrigued when you said it's risen 9%, and I was curious, especially in the younger kids. I wonder what the increase and influx of kids playing the game is, because that would obviously relate in how many more problems they're having with this. But I know that it's been a continuous problem for years. They have gotten a lot better at this surgery, and recovering is possible with a lot of work and a lot of rehab. But you're still, obviously more susceptible for that injury to occur. And I was just curious about that number. And I will say this, when it comes to that club sandwich, I think you made a good point. And I guess the best way to describe it is, when it says sandwich, you expect it to be on toast or a piece of bread. The only thing that gets a pass on that would be a club sandwich. A sub sandwich. And to serve it on a bun would be like ordering a sub and it coming on a hamburger bun. Totally unacceptable. So I'm with you 1,000% on that.
Well, sir, appreciate the call. It's an A+ call because you get the show. You get the show. Yes, we're talking about UCL surgeries and we're talking about club sandwiches. It's one of my favorite shows we've done in a while. To the point of the statistic about the surgeries, all the and that's why I said statistics, you have to always have context for them. In this particular study, it was from UTS Southwestern Medical Center. And they were talking about injuries amongst players. It didn't mention whether it was the rate of percentage or whether that was raw numbers or whatever the case was. But the number I did find interesting was that 27% of 845 elite high school pitchers who threw for pro baseball scouts in showcase events went on to have reconstructive UCL surgery. So that is the actual number where there's a control group, and we can look at the 9% is general, and I'm not sure how specific we can get on that. But it is something, and now, like I said, we can get them today, but I would like to have some pictures come in and have this conversation, because I do think it is something that we need to address. The last point I'll address on what you said, due to medical breakthroughs, the UCL surgery, the Tommy John surgery, is not the end of your career as it once was. There is a brutal recovery process, a very arduous rehab process, but you can make it. We don't want to see more people having it, but thankfully we have the surgeries that can help people get through it if they do have it.
803-404-6100. Yeah, I have Kip Bulknight busy this morning, but we will get him.
Yep.
Maybe next week to talk more about this. Real quick, I just during the break received an email from Augusta National Communications. We do have an update here. The first round is now scheduled to begin at 10:30 off of the number 1 tee. The honorary starters ceremony will begin at 10:10 a.m. And if you are considering heading down patron gates, will open at 9:30 this morning. So right now, first round scheduled for 10:10. It does give me an updated tee times for everybody. Let me scroll down to what we expect, which is going to be that Tiger Woods was pushed back to closer to 3 o'clock. And if that is the case, Preston, we're not doing this. I think I'm not keeping up with Tiger right now because I think he's going to win. I'm keeping up with Tiger because I'm wondering if he's going to, A, make the cut, and B, finish the tournament. And that's why I'm kind of doing this, because I'm with a lot of you who kind of now lean to, tee time now, he is in Group 27. Tiger Woods will officially tee off around 3:54 if they do indeed start at 10:30 a.m. this morning. 3:54 means that somebody sent in, he's teeing, that means 7:50-ish is about what somebody sent in will be sunset. He'll be pushing it to get in. Now, the good news is maybe he'd only have to play an extra hole, maybe 2 tomorrow. But if this still gets delayed anymore, you're talking about Tiger having to play 20, 21, 22 holes, 23 holes tomorrow.
Well, also, let's say if he does get all 18 in, but then we're talking about recovery time, which is going to be extremely
That's
important
also because he's talked a lot about what he has to do for his body.
He has to play later into the evening, and then if he's, if they're teeing off at the same time tomorrow, that's less sleep, recovery time, etc. That doesn't work well for somebody.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Seasoned veteran.
Yeah. So a lot there. Again, not really following this story on Tiger Woods because we think he's going to win. To me, it is a question: can he indeed make the cut? And if he does make the cut, can he even? I got a feeling he's going to play 36. I really believe he's going to play 36. I don't think he's going to quit before the end of the first 2 rounds. But the toll on his body, my question would be, if he makes the cut, does he play like 9 on Saturday and be like, no, that's it, I'm good? The weather's supposed to be great the rest of the weekend. It's just a matter of getting through this morning and getting the guys on the course. We'll continue talking about this. I have gone and bought a Mountain Dew to prepare for the egg salad sandwich that we will try during the break.
Highway 1 near I-20, still an accident, still working on that. The inbound lanes are now open. They're trying to open the outbound lanes at this point. So things have been backed up to the library. There had been some diverting of traffic. Not sure if that's still happening if you're going from Lexington to Columbia. But just allow extra time or find an alternate route if you're heading inbound into Columbia from Lexington on Highway 1. Also, Johnson Marino Road at Highway 76, still working that earlier tie-up. The rain should be out of here early afternoon, sometime after lunch for sure. Thunderstorms still possible yet this morning, though. Tomorrow would be great. Sunny, windy, 72. 67 with some rain right now.
Woohoo! I survived. That was awful. That's up there. I mean, I know I got it. I get it. I can be in a character at times. I can be overly dramatic. I got it.
What? Wait, time out. Hold on. What?
Yeah, I got it. For the sake of radio, for everything that we do at times, I can be overly dramatic, and I can play up some things that aren't true. There was no playing up of that. I don't eat deviled eggs. I eat scrambled eggs, fried eggs. That's it. All right. That's the extent of
But
my.
for clarification, you don't like egg salad, period. So it's not the Master's egg salad sandwich that's horrible.
I wouldn't
it's
eat
your
that.
personal, just like me with the rye. It doesn't matter how good it is. I don't like rye bread. So there's no chance.
It's a texture.
It never stood a chance
texture.
with you.
Yeah, it had no chance, and I would have backed out on it. I should get points for following through and eating that because I knew the texture of it was, and that's what I was explaining to y'all off air. Like,
Right, but that's a you thing. That's not the sandwich, though. That's a you thing.
could be a delicious sandwich if you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into that kind of thing.
If that's what you go for in life, hey man, have at it. It might be delicious. Not to me. And I did it off air, and Jen filmed it, and I took a very small bite. And as I told Terry Ford, and I told Preston, and I told Jen, I would, if they were to offer me a number to finish that sandwich, and that sandwich has, by the way, now made it to the trash, I would learn what my price in life is. That would be like, all right, what's your number? I'd learn right there because I could not have eaten the rest of that sandwich.
One of my favorite games.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. I play that game with myself all the time. What's my number on this one? I don't. There's a number.
I know it's higher than 20. I'm pretty sure it's going to be higher than 100. I'm fairly, actually, I know it's higher than 100. I don't need to be pretty certain. 803-404-6100. As I mentioned there in the previous segment, an email came in, Augusta National putting out their communications just about 20 minutes ago now that the first round will begin at 10:30 a.m. off the number 1 tee. The honorary starter ceremony will begin at 10:10 a.m. and the patrons will be allowed in at 9:30 a.m. So as we sit here at 8:03 a.m., if you want to head down there and purchase you some tickets, go ahead, get going. You'll be able to catch the honorary starters. That's the great thing about living in Columbia. We're about an hour and a half away. If you're in Lexington like I am, you're about an hour away. And now, as Steve says, looks like the rain is basically moving out. Even here at our studio, I'd say it's lighter than it was. I know it's obviously light outside as opposed to dark when we came in, but it does look like we are heading in that direction. So we'll get the Masters going here in just a little while. And hopefully it's going to be a fun tournament. I always enjoy this. I'm really interested to see the national reaction over the next 4 days, how we consume golf, because of what's happened, because I think golf has lost so much momentum, Preston, even for a major, with the split in LIV and the split in PGA and the greed, it seems like, of the game. Even trying to watch a PGA Tour event, I'm one of those people that I think this is an aging thing, Preston, that on Sunday afternoon, I enjoy just sitting in a chair and watching golf and NASCAR. Both are great napping sports.
Yeah, because you can always check in, check out, take a nap, come back in.
You only need to be awake for about the final 30 minutes is really what you need.
I'm just looking at this, and obviously, as a golf casual, very, very casual, and I've heard the name Scottie Scheffler. Didn't realize that he's number one right now, and further than that, would never be able to pick Scottie out of a lineup till I'm looking at his picture just now. Is that an indictment on all the things that you're saying about potential interest waning in PJ, or is that him specifically?
That's you.
That's
I'm
me?
not picking on you. That's you.
Fair.
Yeah, that's
fair.
you. Just not in. But again, he's not a dynamic golfer. He's a great golfer, and if you follow the sport at some level, you're like, okay, Scottie Scheffler. It takes a lot, though. Tiger Woods. I think Phil Mickelson could have done it. I'm trying to think of who's out there that really is the dynamic golfer where, like, the casual fan like you, and let's just use women's basketball, for example. If you weren't a South Carolina fan and you were just a casual fan out there, because that's what Caitlin Clark did. No offense to Dawn Staley in South Carolina. This year, they weren't that dynamic group where you had, if you were the casual fan, you had to tune in. But you were going to tune in because you, number one, Caitlin Clark was shoved in your face so much through advertising and ESPN that you finally go, I got to see what this is all about. Scottie Scheffler is not that guy where you're like, I got to see what this is all about.
And on top of that, I would say Caitlin delivered almost every time. Every time she delivered. Even in the championship game, people who were just like, yeah, let me see what this is about. Oh, wow, 18 points in the first quarter, logo 3, what's happening here? Even if they were going to not finish the game, she delivered on the promise. But so Scottie Scheffler, I just said that is more so a me thing. Who else would I be looking for? John Rahm.
And see him going. Bryson DeChambeau might have been that guy because he, in a way, had a villain quality to him, but he also hit drives where that was one of the things. Like, I want to go see that. I want to see it on TV is one thing. To see it in person, to see him hit a drive in person, you kind of like, I got to see that. And I think Bryson could have been a guy that actually could not have won, but had that villain because he's whiny. He's hard to pull for. You pull against him, but you might be that person like, man, I love who that guy is, because he's not a bad human being. He's just kind of a whiny person on the course.
Yeah, whiny. But and then when we get with Brooks Koepka, we don't love him because he doesn't really love golf.
And see, I love Brooks Koepka.
But that would be people's argument against him, is like, this guy doesn't even love the sport. He doesn't respect the sport, blah, blah, blah. But he's actually really good.
Brooks Koepka says what all the golfers think but won't say. That he's only here to win the majors. He doesn't care about the Memorial. He doesn't care about TPC Sawgrass. He doesn't care about all these other tournaments. He knows his legacy is entirely defined by how many majors he wins. And if he wins 8 majors but only 4 regular tournaments, his legacy is complete. 803-404-6100. By the way, Jen, you sent me a text message. I don't know if we had somebody call in. You asked
We did.
You can't buy tickets at the gate, but obviously you can go down and buy tickets from people scalping tickets where you're going to pay an enormous price.
And hopefully they're legitimate tickets if you're purchasing those.
They do a pretty good job of that. You are right. But no, I mean, obviously, you can go down and get to, as I think most do, but you pay a pretty hefty price. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Baron wants to weigh in on Scottie Scheffler. Baron, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Just right quick. I've been following Scheffler since he started, and no one hits the ball like Scheffler. He hits it straight right down the middle as far as you can hit it. Not Johnson, But I'm telling you, Scheffler is something. I heard some pros talking yesterday. They said no one hits it like this guy. And he's very accurate. He's had a little problem put in, but he kind of got that straightened down. Now, but what the thing is golf. You know, this has been the year for basketball because there's so much action. Golf has a problem of slow play. And they discuss how to do it, where to penalize or where to award those and play faster. You know, it mystifies people. The players get down there and start to putt and back off and walk up, look at the hole, make sure you're still there. It is aggravated the slow play. And this is what's hurt golf more than anything else. It's boring. It gets boring. Now these majors, we're going to watch that regardless, no matter how much slow play they do. They circle the green, and I think Tiger started this a lot back when he first came on, doing a lot of walking around and looking. And they advertise, you know, hurry up and hit while I'm young and all this stuff. But slow play is the thing right now that's hurt golf, and I think it's slowed golf down as far as people watch it on TV. Anyway, I just want to run that by you, but Scheffler's the man to beat, and you'll see when he gets up there, he's got a funny. The way he does his right foot, he kind of drags his right foot. No one else does that, but he's got the pop. He's big and strong and smart. You don't do stupid things. That's where he gets them, I think. You know, I like on speed, but he's going to do something stupid about every third hole. You say, why would he do that? Why would he do that? This guy has got so much ability. He'd rather make a 30-foot putt than to make a 5-foot putt. You know, he's just funny. Anyway, let me get off of here, and you guys can talk about it. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you for the phone call, Barron.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, look, in terms of slow play, Preston, I mean, that's one reason golf is look, this weekend, I'll be able to sit down and watch intently what's going on. Otherwise, golf is nothing more to me. And I enjoy the sport. I enjoy it. I follow it. But it's nothing more to me than background noise on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock when there's no baseball or obviously basketball or anything on. Friday's the same if I'm sitting out, especially during the summer. Saturday, Sunday. Again, so I don't know how many. The majors is when I'll watch a Saturday golf round. That is it. I will not watch many other golf rounds on Saturday just because it's a sport where you kind of check in. Oh, okay, there's loose now. Okay, all right, let me go back to whatever else I was doing.
That makes a lot of sense, and thank you for the perspective on Scotty. But what I heard was this guy is very fundamentally sound.
Yeah,
and that does not sell.
Square up, chest pass.
That
nice pivot.
That's what
Mike and drill.
That's what people who are really love and appreciate the sport can really get into. Casuals are like, okay, what's going on here? I don't know. What's fancy about that? It just like you said, it reminds me of like Tim Duncan. So it's like, no, you really got to watch him. But then somebody to watch him be like, all right.
He does have a unique swing. Scheffler does in terms of how, but it's something that you kind of like got to understand with his feet, that he basically does things that are slightly unorthodox. But it's not something that you're like, wow, I can't. Like Jim Furyk's swing, you're like, what is he trying to accomplish here?
Yeah.
How is this working?
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau swings so hard that you kind of like, I need to see that in person. How does he not snap the club off of his back, or how does he hit it that far? Scotty Scheffler, you just walk by and you're like, oh, there's Scheffler. Hey, good, he's in the lead.
Straight down the middle.
All right, right there. Nice.
Right off the backboard.
Nice.
Just use the backboard.
803-404-6100. We will get into a little bit more basketball talk, some baseball talk as well. Gamecocks, Mark Kingston talking last night. Obviously, big series for them down in Florida this weekend, and we'll cover a few other topics. We have one sandwich.
Final boss.
High expectations.
Did we put too much pressure on this?
Yes. High expectations. Coming off of that egg salad, I'm needing the first time in a while I've drank a Mountain Dew, but I'm using it to survive. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Summer is on the way. I cannot warn you enough. If you've never been here before, you have no idea what you're in store for with the Columbia heat. What I can tell you to do is go ahead and call AAA Heating and Air today to at least get some maintenance on your heating and air unit. If not, get a whole new unit. You can get a free estimate replacement today, or a free replacement estimate today, by calling AAA Heating and Air 803-677-1500. And right now, AAA Heating and Air has a great deal going on. Again, no interest, no payments till 2025. You can have phenomenal comfort in your home as soon as tomorrow with a phone call today. 803-677-1500. And how about this? If you're thinking about some lighting outside to enjoy the summer with, AAA Heating and Air is now doing lighting installation and repair, along with electrical panel upgrades and new generator installations. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500.
Again, sloppy conditions out there this morning. We do want to let you know about a Old Cherokee at Sunset Boulevard. The one outbound lane is blocked. Highway 1 near I-20, things are getting better. They're still trying to get the outbound lanes back open, but inbound lanes are now open there at Highway 1 near I-20. Johnson Marina Road at Highway 76. And if you are on Leesburg Road, right before Green Lawn Cemetery, there is a power line that is down, blocking one of the lanes. So it's better if you're coming on Leesburg, go ahead and get to Garner's Ferry before you get to the cemetery. And we're going to see the rain, some possible thunderstorms, really till after lunchtime. Then it should be clearing out tomorrow. Windy and 72.
Rolling along on your Thursday morning. Got past that chicken salad sandwich, or excuse me, the egg salad. Chicken salad was pretty good as we have now wrapped them up. Thank you again to Brian, a good buddy out in Lexington, who brought me all these sandwiches and master sandwiches. That was all of them. And we wrapped up.
Really appreciate that, seriously, because that was really cool.
Yeah, we wrapped up here. We have tried the fried chicken sandwich, the Master's chicken sandwich.
Easy number one.
So now that you've had them,
I had to re-rack them.
bench, cut, start.
Yeah, all right. We're gonna start the fried chicken sandwich. By far, number one. We're gonna bench the barbecue sandwich. Very good, and it wasn't on our list. Very, very solid. And then I'm cutting the club. Get out of here. Get out of here, club sandwich.
Chicken sandwich is the starter, without question. I probably, in the surprise of the morning, I think that honey is what does it, but the chicken salad sandwich, I'll bench.
I can see that.
Could bring that back. That was a perfect chicken salad.
So what are your official things again? What is your starter, your bench, and your cut?
That's what. So he went chicken sandwich.
Chicken sandwich to start. We're gonna bench the barbecue, and we're gonna cut the club. Which is
I forgot about the barbecue.
Which is interesting because I had club at number one. So this just goes to show, preseason, you might think you got something, and then all of a sudden you see him out on the field, and you're like, you know what? Not what I thought he was.
Not what you expected. I forgot about the barbecue sandwich, and that one was pretty. I hate to put the barbecue sandwich though there because I feel like
it's cheating a little bit.
I feel like I'm just going with things that I like.
That
in
could
a
be
way,
true.
like I feel like I need to go outside the box for this particular event.
You was right though. If all things being equal, I could see myself coming back to the chicken salad with the honey on top. That was a special touch.
Yeah, I'll go chicken salad, and just people like Will out there. Will C weighing in this morning. Just I don't know what's wrong with these kind of people. It says the egg salad sandwich is the best. Every time I've been able to go in the Masters, I buy at least 10 of them. I wish you would have bought all of them and now I'm choking. This is what happens when you eat food in the morning on air. But no, what's wrong with you about it? You're okay. Was it okay, or was it? How did you treat the eggs?
It was fine. I wouldn't repeat it. It was fine. But I like egg salad though.
Yeah. No, that was brutal. 803-404-6100. So we've done it again. Thank you to Brian. He just said his name, Brian, would be fine to call him by today. But appreciate he brought all of the master sandwiches. We've had a lot of fun tasting those.
You know what my biggest takeaway is? Context is king. Because I can imagine all of these sandwiches at the Masters. Like they're fine in studio.
Yeah.
But imagine them at the Masters in the environment with all of the pretty trees and the greens and the excitement. It reminds me of like fair food. It's like it's fine, but it's only really, really good in the environment.
In the moment.
Well,
when you're being at the spot. I'm not even talking about like the freshness of it. Just saying the whole environment. It's like when you go to a fancy steakhouse and it's the tablecloths and the service and it's all of that contributes to the taste of the food.
But does it taste a slightly better because you walked out of the little tent area where it's at and you paid $1.50 for the chicken salad or the egg salad?
That's all part of it.
Or $3 for the chicken sandwich.
I think that's all. It's all part of it. It's like ballpark hot dog. It's like a hot dog is fine, but at the ballpark with the organ playing and all of that stuff just adds to everything. So these were great by themselves, but now I'm like, man, what would that taste like walking, at the concession stand or something like that?
And kind of tipping your hat or tipping your sandwich bag to somebody else, like, yep.
Yeah,
what you got?
it's the whole experience of it.
By the way, we didn't get quite everything. We missed the breakfast sandwiches, chicken biscuit, and then there's something that's just labeled, which this is the advertising part of it. There's something just labeled as breakfast sandwich. Much like the Masters Club was not a club, I don't know what the breakfast sandwich is. Probably an egg.
I'm thinking it's probably whatever was left over from yesterday.
Just throw it in 2 pieces of a vessel, some sort of vessel.
The egg salad and the pimento cheese are $1.50 this year. The pork barbecue is $3. Masters Club $3. Chicken salad on honey wheat is $3. Ham and cheese on rye $3, and the classic chicken $3. So I think also everything tastes a little bit better when you walk out and you're
100%.
like, got me a nice deal on that.
Yep.
Got me a deal. Beverages, by the way, this is crazy. Soft drinks $2. That's less than you get at most restaurants.
Sure.
803-404-6100. There was some spring practice going on. Speaking of people having a good time. Interesting little thing here. Juwan Howe, the running back out of South Carolina State, making his debut for South Carolina. He spoke yesterday, and here's what he spoke about on the advice Coach Buddy Pugh gave to him on coming to South Carolina. 18.
Yeah, he definitely he just kind of gave me just keep going, work hard. It's going to be harder, and just keep grinding, and, you'll find your way and find the path. But coming from there, this is everything I expected, just to work hard and compete for a spot and just to learn and ultimately get to the next level.
We've seen guys make this. I mean, Mario Anderson developed, and Newberry is a level below South Carolina State. Do we make too much of the jump from one of these lower levels to the SEC? I mean, Preston, you played. If you're a baller, you're a baller.
Yeah, the ballers are everywhere at every single level. The difference, everybody pretty much knows this, but the difference is it's just that in the SEC or subsequent levels, there's just more ballers. At South Carolina State or maybe that level, there might be one or two guys who can really get it done. There's just more guys in the SEC that can get it done. But your best players at the HBCU level or FBS level, they can absolutely, Juice, Antwain Wells can compete. Your best players at those levels can absolutely compete in the SEC. And from all reports or purposes, this guy was one of those types of dudes who was playing at an extremely high level. Now, I am interested, as he was talking about what Coach Pugh said to him. I think he was doing some selective editing.
Because you mentioned
Coach Pugh, my guy, I love him. Very colorful language artist. And so I'm really interested to see what he was saying.
That running back room, it's really interesting because of what happened last year and also the lack of production. And quite honestly, I think people are terrified of the hype because everybody loved to carry on Joyner and they wanted him to succeed, but it didn't work. And then that's where Mario Anderson came in. And so I think people are a little concerned. Don't hype anybody because we saw what happened with the carry on Joyner, and that didn't work out.
That's absolutely fair. My only counter to that is to be that Juwan is a running back.
True.
He's been a running back for his whole career. If you a little bit privy to his recruiting process, he's just a guy that slipped through the cracks. Not saying he would have been at the SEC level, but this is probably the level he should have been at the whole time.
Let's hear real quick from another transfer running back, Oscar Attaway III. And let's just hear this, and we'll come back on the other side and we'll talk about it. But this is him on adjusting to a new system. Preston and I, this has been the funny part. Sean Elliott's just drawing up plays in the dirt. Sometimes Dow Loggins doesn't seem to know about it, doesn't know what's going on, because that's what Shane Beamer said yesterday. But let's listen. Here's Oscar Attaway III talking about adjusting to a new system.
I adjusted pretty well to it. Like a lot of coaches understand that I know how to catch football. Some running backs don't know how to do that very well. And so coach tries to get me out there instead of running a 3-yard route, run a 5-yard route. 2 yards is a big difference in the SEC. You can win or lose a game off of 1 yard, 1 inch. And so, adjusting to all of that has been pretty fun, actually, coming into a new scheme, because we're getting coached from, what's my guy name from Georgia State? I forgot my coach's name. I'm sorry. Coach Elliott. Getting Coach Elliott out there, getting his run scheme that he brought over from Georgia State is even better. So, just learning a lot of different other things and trying to adjust to it as well as I can.
We'll come back. Preston and I looked at each other. We'll replay that when we come back and let Preston weigh in on that. That's right. We got Josh Harris next, Darlington Raceway president. We'll get to him. We'll come back to that audio. Some of y'all are just crazy, too, by the way. Texter weighs in, says food just tastes better outside. You with that?
There might be something to that. I haven't thought about that, but there might be something there.
And then I appreciate you listening in Lexington, you Looney Tune, whoever this is. Egg salad is chicken salad if you think about it. No. No.
Interesting. That was actually very good.
That's a good one.
No. 803-40.
Which came first, chicken salad or egg salad?
Mm-hmm. Just got to think about it, Bill.
I'm not allowed to say at 8:30 in the morning how egg salad was created by the chicken. 803-404-6100. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. You know what? Just a couple years ago, Jacob helped put me in my condo out on Lake Murray. Did a great job finding the right deal for me, finding the right interest rate, helping save me money, working through the paperwork, working through all the little issues that may have been there. It was an easy process, and he'll do the exact same for you. And now with First Palmetto Bank, who's locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands, it means he has local decision makers that can help you get quick answers to any of your questions and find the right deal for you, such as if you're looking to build a home in the next few months, First Palmetto Bank has a no-nonsense construction loan that's right for you. Learn more today. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank, 803-719-1005. Again, give him a phone call, 803-719-1005. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
All right, still working on that downed power line there on Leesburg Road. So if you were heading on Leesburg Road before you get to Green Lawn Cemetery, you want to try to make a diversion to get over to Garner's Ferry because things are kind of a mess in that area right now. Old Cherokee at Sunset Boulevard, one outbound lane is currently blocked. Still working on traffic, Highway 1 near I-20, so that's still kind of snarled. I-20 westbound at Monticello Road, an accident, and also trying to get things cleaned up on Johnson Marina Road, yes, at Highway 76. In Piney Grove at St. Andrews Road near Lee Park Elementary, has been a collision there, so be careful. Hopefully the rain clears out early, sometime after lunch. Right now it's 67 with some light rain.
.835 as we roll along and out to the Love Chevy phone lines we go to be joined by our good buddy Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway president, as we get ready for the Masters tournament. Now, Masters, obviously in Augusta, just outside of the state, but we are roughly a month away from a huge event in our state, Darlington. And Josh, as we kind of count down now, how is your first few months of preparation going? I got to ask, has there been anything that's caught you by surprise that you're like, Kerry Thorpe failed to mention this?
No. Kerry did a great job of getting me ready towards the end of last year, and certainly, left this place in a very good position. So no big surprises so far. A few new things. We were at the governor's mansion on Tuesday, so being there for the first time and being at the podium was a little bit of a new experience, but one that was certainly fun to do. We had Josh Berry there, we had Rodney Childers, and they unveiled their throwback paint scheme. So some new things coming up here and there that I haven't done, that I'm excited about, but nothing that has been a big surprise or challenge.
Yeah, that was very fun on Tuesday, and watching Rodney Childers' reaction to seeing his paint scheme was kind of nice. He was a little bit emotional on that, so I think he was thrilled with that paint scheme for sure.
Oh yeah, I think it really touched him that the team would think of him, to do their throwback scheme for this year, and it really ties into our theme of celebrate our roots. And so we're ecstatic with Stewart Haas Racing. Josh Berry has a great story himself, and then partnering with Harrison's, a South Carolina-based company, so it really all tied in well. I've seen, since then, I talked to Rodney afterwards, and then since then, just some of the social media posts, I can tell, it certainly meant a lot to him to have that paint scheme represent one of his late model cars from his driving career.
And you're also going to be in the Columbia area today or tonight. You've got something going on in the Fireflies?
That's right. So last year, towards the end of the season, we partnered with the Fireflies and came out and set up with their first responders night, and that was a great experience for us. So we partnered with them again. We're going to have NASCAR night tonight at the Columbia Fireflies. I think this will be their second or third home game to kick off the season, so we're excited about getting over there. We'll have their pace car out front, have some ticket specials, and maybe some other fun things. And then we're going to do a little in-game promotion with them for part of the season, featuring some of our Goodyear tires. So I encourage everybody to get your tickets. The weather's going to clear up, and come see us tonight.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of tires, so we had some short track races that tires have potentially been an issue or thoughts, and I know that Goodyear's kind of going, I think, back to the drawing board. What conversations have you guys had as far as the quality of the racing with the current tires?
Well, I think everybody's got an opinion on it for sure, and it's been talked about a lot over the last couple of weeks. So, for me, it's not something that I really have anything to do with or control over, so I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about, solutions. It is what it is. I will say, being at Martinsville this past weekend, watching that race live, it's a lot different experiencing it live than maybe the way it comes through on television. So I would just encourage fans, I know everyone can't get to every single race, but if there's a race in your market, get out and go watch it. There's so many other things that you can see and follow on the track that you don't get to experience always watching on TV. So I have no doubt that NASCAR, that all of our stakeholders want to see the short track product improve, and they're going to work hard on it. I think everyone has an opinion on how we get there, so it'll be a matter of continuing to work on it, and hopefully, we got smart people on all sides of this working on it, and I've got confidence that we're going to get there.
I can't disagree, and I going to the track, watching pit strategies and things like that. I mean, those make a huge difference in the outcome of the race. So I for sure encourage people to go to a race live. It has been fun to watch the ratings. And all season long, ratings have been very strong. And even on Sunday, when you're up against the Women's National Championship game, ratings were still huge. Or, we're still at least consistent to where they were last year. So I love that it looks like we have more eyes on the sport. And I think that's just very encouraging.
It is. We're making, incremental gains each week, each race, year over year. So it's good to see. Certainly the explosion from women's college sports and Caitlin Clark and the attention that they have gotten, and rightly so and rightly earned. It was exciting to follow along just as a sports fan. So to be in broadcast at the same time as that, with them setting records that have beaten NBA and NCAA, beat the men's title game, there's certainly something special. So for us to go up against that and kind of hold our own with where we've been, I think that's a good sign.
Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway president, joining us this morning as we are 31 days, 6 hours, 19 minutes, and we tick under 2 seconds until the start of the Darlington race down there. Can't wait. I know we'll be down there on that Friday. Real quick, one of the things we've been doing this morning, Josh, is sampling sandwiches from the Masters. I personally think a good sandwich for Darlington would be the Gunter. Just throwing it out there. Bacon, chicken, some cheese.
Like a tiny bagel, like a mini bagel that's kind of tasteless.
Okay, yeah. It just a thought. Is there any food though that you would suggest? I know that the races aren't necessarily foodie type of things. Is there a racetrack, Jen, Josh, where food is? They have a specialty kind of nacho or something?
Well, I think there's been a number of things over the years that have come and gone. The Martinsville hot dog is probably the most infamous. You go to Martinsville, you got the hot dog stand right there in the infield. You got to get your Martinsville hot dog. Aside from that, there's been things over the years. I would say though, here for Throwback Weekend, we actually are going to have some throwback menu items. So last year, a couple of things that we featured was a bacon and bologna sandwich. We had a Mima's Secret sandwich. So our catering partners, our chefs, are working hard on that. They're actually going to be down here in about 2 weeks to do a menu sampling with us. So I'm excited that we're going to have some throwback menu items, probably some pimento and cheese worked in there somewhere. So I think I'm really looking forward to that part of our weekend.
Okay, I like that. We will be following up with you on what's going on there with the menu items. That fits right up our alley with the show. And now, though, it's time to make some picks. It's the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. Make sure you contact Corley Pool Solutions for any of your pool maintenance needs. For over 20 years, Tracy Corley has taken care of pools around the lake, around Lexington, and he's ready to help you. 803-445-8109. Flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. You know what you're paying for when you contact Corley Pool Solutions. 803-445-8109. All right. Not a bad week last week. I didn't do good. You guys took all my picks. I didn't know who to take. I went with Christopher Bell. I finished last. We were very close. Reggie almost got it with Kyle Larson. However, Jen, You got 4 points, but you're still in last. You're up first here with Texas.
Okay. Well, I think I'm struggling, but I'm going to go Kyle Larson.
Of course you are. Why wouldn't you take the person who has the highest odds to win? Excellent pick.
You know what? Odds don't ever work for me, so that's not usually the direction I go.
Bill, you sound a little different tone this week compared to the last two.
You noticed. Isn't it fun?
Oh, you're figuring out this program quickly, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a quick learner.
All right, your pick. Where are you going?
Well, I had Kyle Larson top of my list. I've picked a lot of Toyotas recently. I'm going to have to switch it up. I'm going to go with the man who won last week. They're hot. I'm going to go with William Byron.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
That's strong.
Don't ever like him to win twice in a row. Let's see. Preston, you're next. Preston, you're sitting there 5 behind me, 4 behind Reggie.
Yeah, we're just playing it steady. We're trying to stay steady. I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick.
Good call.
Oh, yes.
Good call. Good call. And that leads us to Reggie. Do we have Reggie's pick?
Yep. He's got your girl, Denny Hamlin.
I was actually definitely going to take him. All right. I'm going to go Ryan Blaney this week. I like Ryan Blaney in this spot, so give me Ryan Blaney. Josh, we always appreciate it, my man. A lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
You figured out the program, and we look forward to having you back next week.
Sounds good. Looking forward to next week.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Josh Harris, Darlington Raceway president. Counting down the days. Look forward to talking to him next week. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the Ecton Law Firm. You know it, tax season is upon us, and that can cause some issues. You might have some tax troubles, and if they're weighing you down, you don't need to let that happen. You don't need the stress of taxes, levies, or liens holding you back any longer. You can get out of the maze. Just call the Ecton Law Firm. They know exactly how to help you. They have a proven local team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. Trust me, they know what they're doing, and they're ready to help you. And they make it easy. They start with a free consultation. Give them a phone call today for that. 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. Again, they'll have local solutions. They've helped thousands of families, businesses just like yours escape the IRS, and they're ready to help you. But you need to call them. Don't wait another day. 803-771-9800. Call the Ecton Law Firm. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. $8:49 as we roll through the morning, a sandwich-filled morning, and we'll finish the program talking about that and knowing your coach's name. Let's listen to Oscar Attaway again. North Texas transfer. Spoke yesterday, Preston Thorne. We didn't get a chance to talk about this, and he talked about adjusting to the new running back system. Here's what he had to say.
I adjusted pretty well to it. You know, like a lot of coaches understand that I know how to catch football. You know, some running backs don't know how to do that very well. And so coach tries to get me out there instead of running a 3-yard route, run a 5-yard route. You know, 2 yards is a big difference in the SEC. You can win or lose a game off of 1 yard, 1 inch. And so, like, adjusting to all of that has been pretty fun, actually, like, coming into a new scheme because we're getting coached from, what's my guy name from Georgia State? I forgot my coach's name. I'm sorry. Coach Elliott. Getting Coach Elliott out there, you know, getting his run scheme that he brought over from Georgia State is even better. So, like, just learning a lot of different other things and trying to adjust to it as well as I can.
What's
Dude, he yells a lot. He's kind of around the offensive line at times. Maybe he coaches those other tight ends. I don't. He yells. He's the guy red-faced a lot.
We're all new here, man. Everybody's new here. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Who are you? What's your name again?
What a quote for the transfer portal era.
What's my guy's name? My guy. What's my guy's name again?
You know, that's actually a really good thing. When you mention the transfer portal, I mean, how do you keep track of who your players are and who your coaches are?
Listen, we just got to go back to old school. Tape on the players' helmets, put their names on it, give each coach a badge. Everybody has to stand up in front of the practice. Hi, I'm Sean Elliott. Nice to meet you. Shane Beamer.
Serious question. Did you know all the coaches' names when you played?
I'm going to be honest. By the time my senior year came, we had a little bit of a coaching change. The offensive coaches, I knew their names, but I can't say that I knew them. I can't say that I had much conversation.
We
existed in the same spot.
If you had to do a press conference, you'd be like, man, whoever the running backs coach was, I don't know who it was at that time, you'd be like, he was yelling a lot today.
Yeah, I mean, I can get to that. I mean, when you're younger, but I mean, it's a huge organization,
right?
I would say it's excusable not to know maybe the defensive coaches because they're operated, but.
Also, he pointed out, that is interesting.
Right,
he pointed specifically to Sean Elliott and said his running game. And you know, we're trying to figure this out through interviews right now as to maybe how this system is being implemented, who is implementing it, who is maybe calling the plays. And that right there might be the most, as funny as that clip is, the most telltale comment about how that offense is now being conceived to fit something different that Shane Beamer wants.
Yeah, and I don't know whether they're having those conversations in the meeting or if Oscar Attaway is reading the press clippings. I don't know. That sounded like a very sports talk radio thing to say. Like, my guy from Georgia State is bringing in his offense. So I don't know what's happening. Sometimes you have to listen to what's not what's being said, but just how things are being said and what the methods. I'm very curious.
That was something. I get again. I don't know if there's a better clip for the transfer portal.
You know how it is, man. It's like, who's in the accounting department? I don't know, man. Where? I don't know. What's my guy's name? My guy.
Dude over there is calling the run plays. You know who it is. Y'all know? No, we don't. We're kind of interested to know who it is. 803-404-6100 there. Oscar Attaway III yesterday talking to the media. And I did think real quick, he made an interesting point about in the SEC, 2 yards is a big deal. Running a 3-yard little out route and catching the ball versus 5 yards is a big deal because of the speed.
Yeah, there's a little precision that you have to have, or maybe he might have been more talented than those other players at his level. But, I mean, you need to be precise to win at any level.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we want to practice winning habits and doing the right thing when you're supposed to do it.
803-404-6100. Again, reminder, Masters now set to get started at about 10:30 this morning. Ceremonial tee shots set to be hit at 10:10, and gates opening to patrons at 9:30 this morning. So about 35 minutes away as things will start picking up down there in Augusta as the rain will start to clear out. Looks like we might get a little bit more around 10 o'clock, very light, and then it will be done for the day. We've had a blast. Big thank you again to Brian. A buddy of mine said just call him Brian. That is actually his first name. But he brought us Master sandwiches. We have tried them all, except for the breakfast sandwiches. That's okay. I'm full. I'm stuffed, and I've had a Mountain Dew. Again, bench cut start?
Start the chicken sandwich by far. Yes, it reminds me, like you said, it reminds me of the tailgate after the game. Tremendous. 2, we're going to bench the barbecue sandwich. Can come in and play at any time.
Could, yeah.
Could come in and play at any time. If we need quality minutes off the bench, like Tessa Johnson, we can come in and bring the...
Could be a starter. Could have been a starter.
Could have been a starter anywhere else.
6th man of the year right there.
For sure. And then cutting the club. You came in as a 5-star potential recruit. I got you on the field, and you just not... Fraud.
Complete fraud. Club's not a club. Maybe the best one this morning. Instead of the club, it's the shank, the master shank. It's on a sesame seed bun. There's no bacon. There's no lettuce. There's no tomato. It was a complete fraud. 803-404-6100. You can continue to send in text messages throughout the day on those. I went with the chicken sandwich, the chicken salad, and get that egg salad sandwich out of here. That was brutal. That was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun today, man.
See you tomorrow.